If you don't even know the questions to ask certain AI or to even utilize the tools, you're not going to be able to get the maximum potential about it.
One thing that I noticed that has been very beneficial for our company is a lot of times girls struggle with where to go to and find the resources. So AI has been very, very beneficial for helping them find those resources fast.
What they don't understand is AI isn't always right. And worse than it's not only always right, it will agree with you if you spend enough time talking to it. I don't know if people realize that.
A lot of times the girls come right in, they're impatient, they want to be just Takia and Maddy Jean today. Like, how do you guys do it? And they don't see the back end and the hard work that we put in to get to that point.
And anything new that you're trying to learn or implement, think of it as a 2-year college, but you're getting paid for it. You're doing a lot of learning. You have to never stop learning, and you have to give yourself grace too. Like, that's one thing I feel like I'm always telling the people who come into our mentorship.
Make sure that you're interacting with clients who have done business with you in the past first.
You don't have to work 1,000 hours to accomplish this, that you can do these things like this while still enjoying life. That's our focus.
So let me start the question off with, how is AI impacting your business today? Welcome to this week's PlanAssist Podcast, where we help people make better financial decisions. And that includes a variety of things, not only just your investments, but it includes how do you make better decisions as an entrepreneur, as a small business person. Even if you're in a big corporation, we still need to kind of manage our personal lives and our business lives. So today we're going to expand PlanAssist a little bit and ask a different question. But before I do that, I want to introduce Maddy Jean and Takia. They own a beauty business. It's called Pretty Mogul, and I'm super excited to have them on the podcast today, where we're going to have a conversation around how does AI impact small businesses as they start building out their business or continue to grow their business, because they've actually built a really good beauty business over the last 3 to 5 years. Now what we're going to do is have a conversation about, okay, how are you going to continue to expand that and how do you grow that? And I think it really fits right into the PlanAssist mission of helping you make better financial decisions, because as we grow our businesses, we have to figure out how to generate revenue, how to have successful businesses that then come back to, okay, how do we set up IRA accounts, retirement accounts, how do we pay employees and all that kind of stuff. So the two will kind of intertwine and impact both of them. So today I'm excited to introduce both Maddy Jean and Takia. So with that, you guys welcome and thanks for joining.
Hello, how are you?
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
So
Thank you so much for having us.
I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this next 35 minutes. So one of you pick up, kind of give us a little bit overview of your business, kind of what are you doing? And then I'll get into kind of the first question I want to ask around AI, but do a quick introduction, a little bit about where you're at.
Yeah, so Takia and I both started off as solopreneurs. Basically, we both started off as individual beauticians, growing our business, where we decided that where we actually excelled very well in, and decided we wanted to take it to a next level and help others get into the beauty industry, because it really changed our life. We loved doing it. It was a very good decision that we both made in our life, and it changed our lives for the better financially and freedom wise. And so we started a beauty business where we offer services and also beauty products to help other beauty professionals in the permanent makeup and beauty skincare industry, such as skin lightening, intimate bleaching, and things like that, waxing. And then we realized there was a lot of need for women in our industry, or people in our industry, period, men and women, who are in the beauty and service industry who didn't really know a lot about marketing or how to get clients, or how to get new services introduced to their service industry. So we started a brand called Pretty Mogul that helps other beauty service entrepreneurs or people who are looking to enter into the beauty service industry, where we coach and mentor them on marketing, how to get clients, how to get booked out, how to make over 6 figures, and so on into that. And so that's what we're doing and focusing on now, is to help other beauticians learn service industry skills such as permanent makeup, intimate skin lightening, waxing, those types of services. It's mostly specialty services, but also how to get maximum sales at the maximum, dollar amount, understanding their value and how to put it out there and market it so they can get the highest value for what they're offering.
Wow, that is really exciting. Takia, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, and also one of the things we focus on of having a life balance by doing all that,
Yes.
putting your family first, understanding the importance of just having that freedom where it doesn't have to be so complicated. You don't have to work 1,000 hours to accomplish this, that you can do these things like this while still enjoying life. That's our focus.
Wow, that's exciting. Okay, so that gives everyone kind of a view of where you're at and where you're going. So let me start the question off with, how is AI impacting your business today?
So we've recently started like dabbling in with the AI. One thing that I noticed that has been very beneficial for our company is a lot of times girls struggle with where to go to and find the resources. So AI has been very, very beneficial for helping them find those resources fast.
Okay.
Because like me and Maddie, when we first started off, we didn't really know where to go or even how to do it. And then once we found out how to do it, it was very, very stressful for us. So one thing that I strongly like, even in my classes, I teach to my girls that you now have that resource to go through. Like, say you're trying to create a business plan and you don't have a business plan. The old school way, you go, you do your research, you do Google how to create a business plan. Well, now you have those tools like AI that you can go in and it can create that business plan for you right there in a matter of 5 minutes. So it's little things like that. It kind of ties into creating that time for your lifestyle, creating that time to have where if you're a family that would normally take you 8 hours to do, it's done in 5 minutes, and you can execute 20 things now in an hour as opposed to taking 8 hours in a day to do.
Yep.
Yep.
What I find as a financial advisor where AI, and I've used AI like really deeply, so I'm not like dabbling in it. I've used it really heavily for 4 years, almost since it
Oh,
came
wow.
out.
Yeah.
And I find it helps me really increase my productivity, but I find clients are very almost confused is maybe a good word for it, the how to use it, because it gives them clarity or view of, okay, I'm going to go do this because AI says it.
Mhm.
What they don't understand is AI isn't always right. And worse than it's not only always right, it will agree with you if you spend enough time talking to it. I don't know if people realize that. And
Mhm.
so from a financial advisor, I try to help people. I want them to interact just like you do, but
Mhm.
that doesn't replace me. And I tell them
Right.
that. And it's not like
Agree.
I'm afraid of
Agree.
that. I'm like, you still
Agree.
need to make sure that you're interacting with someone who's a
Mhm.
expert in that
A
particular.
specialist, yes.
Yes.
I agree because you're right. You still need to have the knowledge of what it is that you're even asking.
Mhm.
I've realized if you don't even know the questions to ask certain AI or to even
Mhm.
utilize the tools, you're not going to be able to get the maximum potential about it. And
Mhm.
where do you find those questions? It's somebody who's already been through the pain points. It's someone
Mhm.
who's already went through the hurdles and had to learn the hard way that
Mhm.
realized, well, wait a minute, that's actually not
Mhm.
even a question that even matters. And me and Takia have did before AI came out, actually, so much back and forth of stuff that we
So
never
much.
even needed to do and wasted so much money and learned the hard way of like, oh wait, we didn't even need all of that. And
Mhm.
yes, it can simplify if you even
Yes.
know firsthand what it is
Mhm.
what it is that you're even doing, I guess you can say,
It,
in a
it's
sense. Yeah.
it's so important that they know the expertise, the experience is what helps us know what the question
Mhm.
asks and the
Mhm.
follow-up question. So I'll give you a really good example. I have a client who has a decent sized business, couple $1 million in revenue, and their sales are down just a shade. And so they're like, okay, how do we go grow our business? So he goes on AI, starts asking a bunch of questions. They said, your target market is, I don't know, pick it, whatever, small businesses that do this or do that. And he started telling me how it was helping him with the list and who to call and all that kinds of things. And when he got all done, I'm like, what? I said, that is insane. And yet he has this whole, really nice document, looks really pretty and sounds all that good. And I said, let's do a Zoom call and get me access to that AI. Well, I said, isn't the question isn't how do I grow my business because it'll give you a couple answers. I said, your lowest hanging fruit is your current clients because you've been in the business for he's been in business 20 years. I said, you have 1,000 clients you probably
Mhm.
interacted with. And so when I went back to AI, I said, this is interesting advice, but isn't my lowest hanging fruit my current clients? Well, then
Mhm.
all of a sudden it came back. You're absolutely right. That needs to be. And then it started refocusing on, building current clients. And my point is he didn't think to ask that. He could have gone and spent thousands of hours when AI didn't naturally tell him to go back to your old clients to make sure that you're interacting with clients who have done business with you in the past first.
Yeah,
It's
I
that's
agree.
definitely a good starting point because it might have even triggered to him some stuff that he had no idea. Even though it's not always right, I do totally agree with that. But for me, it actually makes me click sometimes that aha moment to go and or think about to hire a professional for something I didn't even know about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uh, that's where I think people need to understand. No, it's not right all the time because even me, I put in some problems. I was helping my daughter with math, and I put in a math problem. It was completely wrong. It was not right. But it leads you to a different avenue. It'll
Correct.
help you to say, oh, I need help on that. Well, who can I reach out to help me with that? So it is good to not run from it because some people are like, oh, AI is a bad thing. It's not. It can actually be very, very beneficial if used the right way.
No, I was saying, and very time saving. Yes, if
Very
you
time
do know how to
saving.
utilize it.
Yeah. To get you to, especially finding stuff out. Cause like I said, me and her use it all the time. We're like, oh, well, we need to go back to our team and let's implement this and let's start the research. So a lot of stuff that we probably wouldn't have thought about, but it definitely leaded us to the right person, the right people to help us get to execute what we need to execute.
I totally agree. And I think it makes experts more experts, right? It
Yes.
makes us
In my
like you
case,
guys are
yes.
experts in
Yes.
the beauty industry. It
Hmm.
makes your expertise even better because
Yes.
you know the questions, you know you recognize a wrong answer. And it's not so much wrong. Like I don't know, have you gotten into any real like deep debates with AI? Like
Um,
where you just push back on it, push back on it, push back on it. Have
it's
you
not
done that?
wrong.
Yeah.
It's just not as, for me, it's not as analytical.
So
Or
so
it'll, for me too, sometimes it'll miss the point. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, well, no, that's not really what I'm trying to achieve this end goal. So it'll give me something else. And then I'm like, well, no, that has nothing to do with the end goal I'm trying to, trying to
exactly.
reach.
No,
Yes.
exactly. And I'm a real type A personality, so I'll get in these deep debates. What I realized is it'll ultimately agree with you though. And
Well,
that is actually
Yes.
a massive problem.
and that's
If you
dangerous.
push
Me and Maddie
back,
had
it
that
will,
conversation. That's
You
yeah.
did.
dangerous.
Oh my gosh, it's so
Yes.
interesting that you noticed that. It's fascinating. I'm like,
Yes.
I can make AI agree with me on anything that I
Yes.
want.
Yeah. Yeah. You can you
And
definitely can manipulate it.
I think in life in general, it's duality, right? So two things can be true at once. So any of the AI softwares, right? What it's saying could potentially be true, but what I always say is it true for you? Is it true for you in that moment? Is it true
Yes.
for what you have going on? Because two things can absolutely be true. So if it's guiding you to something that may not be true or working for
Mhm.
you, it might work for this person, but they might be in a different season of their business,
Right.
of their life, of their career. So having the discernment to be able to know the difference of what is going to be work for you also can help, because if not, you're
Yes.
going to go down a rabbit hole and you're going to waste a lot of time like me and Takia did, which is
Yeah.
why we started what we started.
Really. Which goes
But
back to
yeah,
what Tim said
but it
about the
is
guys with
good
the
still.
business.
But it
Yeah.
is still good. That's what I was saying.
It's
Yeah,
not like
it'll
people
agree with you.
people are like, well, AI is going to change everything. And I'm like, no, it's not. The longer I use it, the more I realize it's going to actually make those of us who are good and experts in our fields
Agree.
more experts
I
and
agree.
actually more valuable because of it will ultimately agree with us. And to your point, Maddie, it'll give us some things to think about, but it can easily, it's not that it's wrong. Cause to your point, I don't know that it's wrong. I think it's right, but it might miss one step, right? Well, that one
Yeah,
step could be the difference between success and failure.
Tim, it's
100%.
kind
I
of like
would
what you
agree.
said about the Tim, when you were explaining to the guy who reached out to you, who went and got that whole setup and everything,
Yeah.
and he came back. You were the expert, and you were able to go in and say he's missing just this. AI is missing just this very key point for his business. That's a great example to tie into the conversation that we're having now.
Right.
It's things like that you need to have a set of expert eyes on to catch a lot of that stuff. Because even when I use it, I'm catching stuff. Like if I would have just did it 5 or 6 years ago when I was kind of new to trying to like build the business and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, this is great. But even when I look at it now, I'm like, wow, there's so much more they can elaborate with this because they're going to give you the simple format. But I know what questions to go on and ask because we're the experts.
It-
Plus, that's a great point. I agree too. Plus, don't you feel like it'll give you some guidance, but it's like you kind of need, I feel like unless you have already the expertise in it, like you
Yes.
already know,
Mhm.
you kind of need somebody to mentor you or hold you accountable to what it's telling you to even do.
Right.
Because it's like, oh, I
Exactly.
didn't know that. It's like reading a book. Sometimes you're like, oh, that's nice. And you keep it moving.
So I wonder if there's not it's back to like you guys are coaching people to grow their businesses.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that's part of the conversation. Why don't one of you kind of build out kind of how are you guys helping people kind of not just say go on AI, but how are you using AI? And then I think more important than how are you using it, how do you see it kind of helping you build your business from because you guys are really acting as consultants, right? I mean, that's really
Yeah.
the core business that
Yes.
you have is how do you consult someone who has their beauty license? Then how do you kind of interact that or intertwine that into your business?
So we deal with both because some girls come licensed and some girls don't. Some people are starting straight from scratch. So we tie in our services that we provide. We're the experts in both of our field. I'm expert in intimate lighting and facial specialist, and she's the expert in permanent makeup. So for the girls who don't have a revenue already, who's totally new to this, we normally try to create revenue for them first because we do understand you have to have money to be able to do what you need to do. And for the girls who already have an established business, we take them on as, okay, you already have a business. That's when the consultant come in. How can we go through, look at your business and try to streamline it? Now, how we intertwine that with the AI, because like I said, me and Maddy are fairly new to using that too. We both understand that those things that you need to do to build your business cost money. AI can streamline some of those costs, as simple as create a worksheet for you, something that you might go on Fiverr or so and pay a guy $200 to make, and you can make it yourself.
Or graphics, graphic designs,
Graphics
flyers.
and things like that. Simple things like that. That's how we will integrate the AI. We haven't really pushed the issues, like you said, allowing it to create your whole business. And I wouldn't really recommend that without having an expert, because as we've been talking, going through this podcast, there are some things that you can miss. You do need to have those expert set of eyes to kind of guide you to make sure that you're not wasting your time. Me and Maddy waste hours of time. Just another conversation for the podcast. But that's how we've been
So
able
have I,
to
though.
intertwine the AI with our business and bring the girls into our consultant business. Maddy, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think that was actually perfect, Takia. You hit it nail on. That's basically, yeah, what we do. And yeah, sometimes we do, like Takia said, we guide them to like little things that will help, cut minimal costs. But overall, it's still wisdom. Like if AI is telling you something, but you're not understanding the why to it, we kind of help bring in the why,
Yes.
Okay.
why it's needed.
Yes. Yes.
Because if you understand the why, if you have more understanding, you're going to have more success. So if you just hear like, oh, this is what you do, like in a template, but you're not understanding the why, you're not really going to understand the importance, or
The
I feel
value
like
of it.
the value to actually
Mhm.
execute the necessity. Like for example, when we got into our marketing program for a year that Takia and I were in, and we started learning how in-depth marketing is. It's not just posting a before and after. There's so much more into it that people are unaware of. And if you look at it, there's a reason why there's some 6-figure, 7-figure, multi 6-figure beauticians out here, people who have beauty business. And there's another reason why people are failing in the industry. There is usually minuscule, it's very minor details, but those minor details is kind of like playing sports. If you turn your leg one difference, all of a sudden you're a better defense player. It's kind of similar. If you do one thing different, and this goes with the service, with the marketing, you're going to accelerate just from one minor thing. But a lot of people, those are blind spots. So who's going to teach you the blind spots? Someone who's already done or overcame what you're trying to overcome, or been where you're trying to be.
So, what do you see like the biggest challenge that when you're kind of bringing on someone in the beauty business? What do you see as kind of one of their bigger early on? Well, what's kind of the first 2 or 3 things you kind of get them pointed in the right direction?
That they have to spend money to make.
They have to
They
spend
have
money
to
to
put
make.
money to make money. They think They think it's just posting a picture. They think this is what everybody thinks. And we were there. We were one of these people too. And maybe you were too. You come out of school and you're like, ta-da, I've arrived. Where's all the people?
Where's my 6 figures?
Oh, there's nobody here. And actually, I don't know I need a little bit more. So the hardest part, I feel like, is understanding that it's a little bit more. You need systems, you need things in place to actually get those digits to where you want, because it is a business. So I think sometimes people undervalue that, and they also don't understand how much time, money, and energy you actually have to put in to actually achieve the results that you want. I don't know if you agree with that, Takia, but I would say that's probably one of our biggest pushbacks is people don't understand the investment that you have to put in.
I definitely agree. And I'm going to say patience. A lot of times patience and comparing themselves to other successful businesses. A lot of times the girls come right in, they're impatient. They want to be just Takia and Maddy Jean today. Like, how do you guys do it? And they don't see the back end and the hard work that we put in to get to that point. So for sure, you have to have patience. That's like coming the door just saying, I'm willing to ride it out until we figure this out, and it'll all work out, the way it was planned to work out, for sure.
Yeah, I would agree 100% with that. I always tell everybody, in anything new that you're trying to learn or implement, think of it as a 2-year college, but you're getting paid for it. You're doing a lot of learning. You have to never stop learning, and you have to give yourself grace too. Like, that's one thing I feel like I'm always telling the people who come into our mentorship, like, just relax. It will come. You have to put in the time. No matter if you know what you're doing and you heard it all, you still have to, the time you can't erase. You just can't erase the time.
So tell me, this goes to my experience as a financial advisor, but I'll be curious if this has the same issue in the beauty business. So one of our biggest challenges, obviously, getting clients. And one of the things that I find marketing people really miss, and I don't mean like a little bit, I mean like massive, is when you sit down with someone in marketing, they'll say, okay, you need to get on Facebook, you need to do these YouTube channels, you need to do whatever, right? So there's all these, like, what I would call tasks. The part that I try to explain to newer advisors is all that stuff you have to do, but think about it as just kind of part of the process that you have to do. But the part you would need to understand is a new client doesn't come to me because they listen to me on a podcast, or that I meet them at a coffee shop or whatever. They come to me at real high emotional events in their lives. So they've inherited money. Their advisor's done something really wrong. You don't change financial advisors flippantly. It's almost like something's had to go really wrong, right? And so they're not going to see a podcast or an ad or a video or something with me and say, I think I'll call Tim. Something's had to go seriously wrong almost always for them to initiate an engagement with me. And that's the piece that I try to just, how do I stay in front of them and add some value? That's the whole idea behind these podcasts, is they get to know me on these podcasts. I don't expect them to call me, but I know that if they think of me when that event occurs, that's the value. Is that true in the beauty business or not so much?
I'm going to say, for my personal experience, I think when you start making a certain type of money, okay, so it can be different for a lot of different people, but I'll say for me, for example, I came from a financially broken family, kind of. There was no guidance on investing, what to do. It was like a lot of just spending, blowing money fast. It's just like, whatever. So when I started doing very well in our beauty brand, I didn't know what to do with my money. I was like, what do I do with it? And I started hearing podcasts on, like, oh, you should do this. And I started researching and I started paying attention. And one day I just prayed on it and I said, I need help, because I know I need to do something with my money. My money is sitting here and I keep hearing all this stuff that people are making money on their money. And why aren't I making money on my money? I didn't know, though, that there was other avenues to let my money grow. So honestly, for me, I feel like the younger generation, if they're coming from backgrounds of families that maybe didn't come from a lot of money, and they're the first generation of coming into some good income, they need to hear what they can do with that money so that they can actually make good financial. Because if I would have known what I know within the last 2 years, I would have been in a whole different situation in my life right now. But I didn't go through a crisis. I actually had a blessing. I had money. I just didn't know what to do with it. And I started hearing people like you, Tim,
Interesting.
talking
Okay.
about like, oh, did you know this? Did you? And I'm like, wait, oh, I could do that. And it took me a little bit of time, but as I continued, I just said, God, please send me a mentor. Send me someone who's going to help me that I can trust. And I found people, and my mom told me even about you, Tim, and she gave me your book and everything, and little things like that started to make me put two and two together. So it really wasn't a crisis for me. It was more so me trying to break things in my family that I didn't want for my future or my future kids, but I wish I would have known about it, honestly, younger. So for me in the beauty industry, it was more, I actually started making really good money and didn't know what to do with the money.
So it was more a process for you. It wasn't an event.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to actually piggyback off that, Maddy, too, and even for like the financial advisors and tied in with the marketing. I feel that if there can be a way that can be created to educate people, especially amongst minorities, that is something that's not talked to enough in our households. Normally, when you hear finances, the people have already made it. They already got it. They already got a financial advisor. So what's happening for me and what I've seen in our culture is they don't know. And the same thing with Maddy. I was the same for me in my household. We were told you don't get credit cards. Credit cards are a bad thing. But instead of educated, if you educate them ahead of time or find a way to get in front of that audience before they get to a point like us, okay, we're making all this money now, what do we do? That's the key to success. And they're not 40 and 50 years old trying to figure it out, or not to say 40 and 50 is a bad thing, or just older in life trying to figure out what to do. Right.
Because I'm almost 40.
And I am in my 40s. So can't say. But I'm just saying that ball is missed when it comes to whether it's put in school districts or for yourself, Tim, getting in front of the youth very young and educating them.
I wouldn't have thought that, to be honest. But that's really
I didn't, very young, especially now with the
lot of the
being
girls,
entrepreneurs, they're young.
A lot of the girls that I talk to, and a lot of the girls that Takia and I deal with have no idea about even a money market account. I didn't even know about it until one day my banker was like, called me on the phone and was like, you should do something. Why don't you come in? And then that started triggering me to be like, wait a minute, I just made money by nothing. I literally just moved my money and I made money this year. And that's what made me really be like, OMG, I can't believe it. And then I started talking about it to everybody. Takia knows. I'm like, girl, look at what I'm doing. But it was so eye-opening because nobody talks about it, especially in the women, especially with women. I'm not, maybe boys, men too, but I know in the girls, almost all the girls that I tell, unless it's through their job, but entrepreneurs wise, they don't know what.
Have no idea.
A lot of them are and a lot of them are scared too. They're like, oh, but what if I lose? I actually have a friend. I'm teaching him. He's actually in corporate, but he still is like, are you sure I'm not going to lose my money? I'm like, are you just putting it in a savings account? You need to do things with it. Like, there's other things you can be doing.
But it's the lack of not knowing.
Many, and he's only 30.
It's the lack of not knowing.
Yeah. And I would say majority of our students, right, Takia, have nothing.
I would say
idea
majority of our students
or how to plan out their life with their money.
For sure. If it's especially entrepreneurs. See, I came from corporate America. So in corporate America, they tell you got your 401k, you know how to do all of that. If they're coming from, and which these kids and teenagers and adults are coming into a lot younger, they just know I have a service to provide and that's it. They have no idea about, sometimes it's bank. I had to tell my daughter, Kendall, you need to open up a business bank account. I had to tell her what's the importance of that. I had to tell her what the importance of having an EIN, how to file taxes, stuff like this. This isn't educated. And she's lucky to have a mom like me, but most people have no idea. I didn't. It needs to be talked about earlier. It needs to be educated and not wait till that person technically reach out to you, because if they've already reached out to you, they kind of have an idea what's going on. It's to be proactive, to catch them before. So they'll know that, oh, I need this going forward. And how can I implement this into my business plan? How am I going to be able to afford the financial advisor? Because having that financial advisor, if me and Maddy would have had one a long time ago, we'd have saved.
I would have been.
Oh, we'd have saved a lot of money.
We were blowing money. We were blowing money fast. Let's just put it that way.
What happens in the financial advisor?
BMF.
So it's so interesting because, and I guess this goes to just age and, being old and kind of been in the business forever. So what happens to me because of that, I end up in my own little bubble, right? I mean, so the clients that come to me, which this is kind of eye-opening to me because I was like, people that come to me, to your point, they pretty much know what they're doing.
Yes.
Right. I mean, and they already have money, right? So I just add an organization, system, and process to it.
Yes.
But no one that comes to me is kind of just wanting education. But that part of that might be because of how I position it or something like that. So I
True.
really need to think about that. So that's interesting. So in the beauty industry, do clients change beauty consultants, hairdressers, etc., based on a crisis? Is that an event or is that a process like you described?
Go
I
ahead.
would kind of say crisis more so. A little bit of both.
I think it's both.
It's both. Yeah, because you get the girls like us who kind of know and a little bit about it, and we've already been in this field for a while. And then there's some girls recently with everything going on in the world comes with a crisis like I am
They're
messed up
going
right
through a
now.
divorce
They're going through a
or
divorce or just right now the economy is very slow and I'm like money. So it's a mixture of both. It's definitely
Okay.
both. It's both.
And then the next step is their clients. So that's how you get your clients going through a crisis, or they just know they need to get more productive. But then getting people like me changing the person who cuts my hair. That's typically not a crisis for me. It's more what you described, Maddie. It's a process. It's like, okay, I just need my hair cut. I guess it is a crisis actually, because the reason
If I
I
need
would
my hair
change,
done.
yeah. Well, or
That's
or
crisis.
or it's because that person's not around, or
Yeah. Yeah.
or I needed something in the middle or something like that, and then I like that person, I'll just stay.
And
Yeah.
also for our coaching industry, like if we're training, like we also train people how to do intimate bleaching, waxing, permanent makeup, eyebrows, things like that. Sometimes it can be a crisis. They're just stuck. They're feeling stuck. They don't know how to make more income at their regular job. And they're like, I want to open up a business. I saw you doing it. And how do I do this? And that can be a young girl who's just finishing high school, or someone who's literally maybe a flight. I've gotten so many flight attendants that are like, I'm just tired of this and I want to start my own business. So I guess it can be, yeah, honestly, it could be both a crisis of them just realizing I need a way to make more money, more freedom, things like that. But it can also be just one day they woke up and they're like, I'm not going anywhere in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, yeah. So I think that's the biggest kind of back to to link this back to AI. As people have events, AI is a great way to get some input or some suggestions. But like Takia said, it's a great place to start the conversation, but then you need to just keep building it, right? So if you're
Mm-hmm.
going through a crisis, someone's listening to this, AI is a great place to have a conversation around it, but you for sure want to reach out to people like yourselves or to people
Mm-hmm.
like me if they're looking for financial advice. And AI and the person, I think, is going to be what wins the day when we fast
Yes.
forward 3 to 5 years from now.
Yes.
I
I
agree
totally agree.
100%.
I
Yep.
agree. I
You guys
agree.
are both spot on that.
I
Because
agree.
you're right. You both are right. Like sometimes it will get you a foot in the door
Mm-hmm.
just to kind of have an outline of like, okay, what are the beginning steps?
Mm-hmm. And it's here to stay. We can accept it or reject it. For us who are the experts, I would definitely say figure out a way to try to incorporate it because it's not going anywhere. It's like any change that has happened for a million years already. You definitely have to figure out a way to incorporate it in your business, into school districts, everywhere. It's not going anywhere. It's constantly evolving, and just figure out a way to incorporate it, like you said, Tim, and actually have an expert to help you if you don't, if you need help to execute your plan.
The reason I feel like, and I'm not an expert in AI, so I don't want to send this message that I'm kind of, but I do use it a lot. Okay. But the reason I thought about this, well, why do I use it so much more than say, these other 5 or 6 people that I know that are in similar businesses? And I think the reason is because I actually came from corporate America. So I spent 20 years in corporate America. And in some of that time, I was at a pretty high level where I had an admin. So I had some person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a couple times in my life where I had great, I wouldn't even call them admins. They were more like partners or something like that, but they were so good at
Mm-hmm.
helping me stay organized and stay focused on whatever I was doing. So if I was going to a meeting, I always went to the meeting prepared because they knew I was going to a meeting in 2 days. Here's how to do it. This is a really good example of, I did get that email out to you last night where I really should
Mm-hmm.
have done that 2 weeks ago, right? Or a week ago. You know what I mean? So kind of the organization, but the reason I think I use it more is because I've had 10 years of having an admin. Well, I see see AI as an admin. I don't see it as this threat. I use it more as, hey, I need help with this. And that's
Yes.
the stuff I would have given to Matt or, some of those people in the past. I would have said, okay,
You're
go do
spot
this.
on.
And
You're
Spot on.
spot on.
now I just use AI to do that exact same thing. In fact, I called
Yep.
up one of them and I said, I've been looking to replace you for 10 years. I finally did it. And I showed him AI. That was about 3 years ago. I said, I can't believe how good this is. It's like my first time I was so lost without him for, because
Aw,
he was so helpful in kind of
yes.
keeping me going the right direction. And AI
Yeah.
has truly replaced him because it gives me a place to brainstorm. It gives me a place to kind of stay in direction. Do you guys find that or not?
Yeah,
I
I
totally
do
agree with you.
100%.
100%.
Clarity. Yeah. Because
Mhm.
sometimes your mind is scattered because you're in it. Like you said earlier, Tim, you're in your own little bubble. We're also in our little bubble. And
Mhm.
sometimes you can't see because you're in it. So I feel like, yeah, you're 100% right. It'll sometimes give you the clarity to know, like, okay, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to do it. So I would agree with that 100%.
So to finish up kind of in the call or in kind of the last 5 minutes, I guess let's spend a few minutes on how to use AI and how not to use AI. So just spend a few minutes on like if you're consulting your some of the people that are working with you guys, what are some of the kind of key kind of things you don't want to do from a mistake perspective, and then maybe what are some of the things to do to help them?
I would say the things to do was definitely you can brainstorm, use AI as a brainstorming tool. I would say use AI as a brainstorming tool, and then reach out to the expert in that field that you're thinking about going into. Because for me, I do use it a lot to brainstorm. I do. But I also have the knowledge to reach out to a professional to kind of help me to make sure I'm making the right decisions. I would not rely on it solely because, as we've talked, it does make mistakes. It's listening to you. It has to be taught. What you know this, you have to literally train it. And the more you ask the right questions over time and as it goes, as you correct it, then it'll correct itself. So I wouldn't use it as like solely to run my business. I definitely will use it as a brainstorming tool. It can cut a lot of time and hours to just to give you to point you in the right direction to reach out to the professional.
Yeah, and I would agree with that 100%, Takia. That's straight on point. And basically using it as, like Takia said, a brainstorming tool, but also not taking everything that it says for face value. So, like, meaning you need to question what it is giving you. So, like, it might give you that, but you need to go back and double check that that is to be true, which is what Takia is saying. Go find an expert, go find a mentor book, whatever you need to do to make sure that it's validating and that you understand why it's saying that. Because you can put a lot of money or make a lot of mistakes that will be detrimental to your overall success because you're just following what it's telling you to do.
Mhm.
Well, when we both started our businesses, we made a bunch of mistakes, went down a bunch of
Yeah.
rabbit holes we didn't need to. And but AI will do the same thing. They'll just be different rabbit holes. If you're not
This is true.
careful, if you're not careful, I mean, you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to make those mistakes because I have AI. That's not true. You'll just end up down different rabbit holes than what you and I did, right? We spend money
Yes.
on
Yes.
this, spend money on that. Same
Yeah.
thing will happen if they're not kind of careful about how do you interact and get humans involved in the process.
Yes.
Yeah, because the wisdom is through the human actually experiencing it. Whereas the AI is just going to help you streamline things, give you the things. But like Takia said, you still have to train it to kind of guide you on what it is you're really wanting. So if you don't even know how to get it there, if you don't have the wisdom or the
Right.
knowledge to even train it on that, it's going to give you throw out a whole bunch. So it'll tell you how to market or how to do this, but there's a million and one ways to
Yes.
what is it? A
Yes.
million ways to skin a what is it, cat or something
Skin a
like
cat.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a million ways. So it might put you down a million and one ways when you only needed maybe three things to do to achieve what you really
So
wanted
the
to achieve.
expert comes in at. Yes, that's what the expert
So you,
comes in at.
Well,
yeah, because it'll just keep rolling it.
and to my admin example, those admins, though they were fantastic, I mean, I cherished them and I enjoyed them and they helped me a lot. They still couldn't do my job, right?
Right.
Even
Yeah,
as
Right. Right.
valuable as they were, they added massive value to me, but they couldn't go into the same meetings I went into and did XYZ because they didn't have the experience and the time and the whatever, the whole kind of piece that goes with that particular role.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
And I kind of think
100%.
of AI almost as the same thing. So how do you
It's like
leverage
a
it?
helper, like you said.
It's really a helper. And then kind of the one thing I want to make sure I don't miss on this AI is one of the best examples. And I know there's lots of things on the prompt idea and videos and things like that, but the best prompt, and I actually have it written on my computer screen, is it's AIM. So it's super easy, but it's called actor input and mission. And what I mean by that is whenever you give it a question, always tell it who it is. What is it? The top financial advisor in Florida? Is it Goldman Sachs? Is it is it, Fifth Avenue beauty consultant? You got to give them who the actor is. The second
I
is,
love
okay,
that.
what
I do
information
too.
or data do they need, right? So I want information as though you're a financial advisor on Wall Street managing people with $1 billion. The information I'm looking for is da 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 da. And then the third is the mission, as here's what I want you to take away. But I think if you write your prompts on that AIM, AIM, kind of actor input mission, it gives you such clearer and better answers than if you just go in and start asking it questions. Do you guys
Yeah.
use that or spend any time on the
So
prompts?
yeah, we do that. When we're trying to build out stuff, we normally compare ourselves to someone in our profession who may be really, really good at it. And we'll say, can you give me information? I'm just throwing this off can you give me or create me a website, say, for instance, like we all know who Fashion Nova is, similar to Fashion Nova, just to say, because they're in a different field from us. And then it'll give you a bunch of information. And that's like, we can use that to help brainstorm. So it's kind of like the same
So
thing.
you do the same thing.
I
Same
think
thing.
Tim,
You just have it.
yeah,
Tim
you just
has it.
have
I
it
like the
broken
way
down.
you have it broken down, but we do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
One thing I heard somebody say is they say everything a world class. If I'm working on marketing material, I'll say act as a world class marketing manager for this company.
that's
Same thing.
perfect.
Yeah. Same
I
thing.
love that idea.
I
So
love that
that's the
idea.
actor part. Act as a world-class actor.
Yes.
But if you can
Yes.
give them a
Yes.
name, I give them actually like Goldman Sachs is one of the
Yeah.
top
We give a
Okay.
financial
name.
services.
Yes. Yes.
Fashion
Yeah.
But I'll
Nova.
do that
Yeah.
world-class. But I do find it does give me different answers if I
hmm
clarify who I'm telling it to act like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming because it has something to compare it to. It has somebody who's already the expert in that field to give you the input it needs to give. I think that's why it works better that way, as opposed to just shooting from the hip.
Like when I'm writing something and I'm trying to explain something, I'll tell it to act like R.K. Rowlands
Oh, I like that.
because she's like
Mm-hmm.
literally the
Creative.
best writer in history, right?
That's
I mean,
really
I mean,
smart.
there's very few people that write as good as
Start using
she
that too.
does, huh? I mean,
Start
she's
using that
just
too.
crazy writer, right? So
Yeah.
I'll say, take, I want you to write her with her style and her storytelling technique. They're still
Oh,
not
I
as
love that.
good. They're not as
That's
good,
Love that.
but she's a good example of someone that I want her. Sometimes as an actor, I want AI to act like is R.K. Rollins because she's just insane, right? And so good at
Yes.
writing, or whatever, it doesn't matter. Kind of, she's just one example.
Look, I love
Yeah.
that.
We're almost 50 minutes, so I can't tell you how much I enjoyed this conversation. Is there anything you guys want to just touch on or end with? Kind of how do people get in touch with you, and just spend a few minutes kind of on the business you're working on, and then how do people reach out to you if they want to get some information?
So they can find us on Pretty Mogul. We're on Instagram. We are on YouTube. The easiest way, they can go to our website as well. It's pretty-mogul, Mogul, Pretty Mogul. Prettymogul.com or Instagram too. We are super social butterflies on Instagram and that is Pretty Mogul with a double L. And like I said, that's our logo. Our Instagram handles is Maddy Jean PMU, Maddy Jean Permanent Makeup, and Just Takia are our individual handles. You can reach us there as well. And yeah, we would love to see you guys. And thank you so much, Tim. We really appreciate you spending time with us and getting to know you more and know your world. And I think what you're doing is amazing, because I think it will help so many people, especially small business entrepreneurs and the girls and, well, the students that we also help. So I'm really happy that we got to do this with you, and that you also did it with us. And time is the most valuable thing that we have. So I really appreciate you doing that. And you as well, Takia, had some
Thank you.
great topics. I love talking to you guys both.
So Maddy, just kind of, and then we'll finish up with Takia. Is the book you read, the book she's talking about is, I wrote a book called PlanAssist, and
I think that's it.
simplifies basic financial decisions. So kind of the first principles in financial, I'll just spend a few minutes and then we'll finish up with Takia, is first principles in financial. If you want to be, in fact, you can go ask AI this question, give me first principles. And that's the whole Elon Musk's strategy. So if you ever hear Elon Musk being interviewed or talked about, one of the reasons they are so successful is they always go back to first principles. Have you ever heard him say that or talk about it?
The first principles, no, but me and Takia love the word principles.
We love principles.
Okay, so first principle.
We live by principles.
Okay,
we live by principles.
So what first principles are, just to kind of give a quick thing, is first principles on any, it doesn't matter whatever you're looking at, is it takes everything that the industry does and puts it aside. You may use all that or some of it, but it doesn't matter, because whatever you're doing, you want to start at the ground. So like when they built the Tesla car, use that as an example. It wasn't like they said, okay, well, people use wheels and people use motors and all that kind of stuff. They said, we may use all that stuff, but we want to build cars. And then they happen to use some of the stuff that Ford and GM and, Chrysler uses, but they didn't start with them and then take it apart and come to that. They started at first principles, kind of what's the core of building a car, and then they built it from there. Same thing's true with what's the core at a haircut, what's the core at beauty skin. It doesn't matter, but if you ask AI what's first principles in financial services, if you want to build wealth, first principles are liquidity, having cash. So if you have an emergency, the second is having a bucket of money that's safe. Okay. So that's kind of, okay, well, what if, something happens? I don't want this money sitting doing nothing, but I need it to be somewhat liquid so that I can access it if I need a new car, or I need, an opportunity comes along. And then the third is growth. So you need liquidity, safety, growth. Those are the three. Those are first principles in building and maintaining wealth. It doesn't matter if you have $1,000 or have $1 billion. Those are the first principles of managing money. The book you read, Maddy, called PlanAssist, it's built on those first principles, but instead of the first principles, it's built on the how. So the how you get there is the what is the liquidity, safety, and growth, right? But how do you do that? Well, you do that with a plan. So I'm here, I want to go there. The second thing you do is you do it with diversification. So you don't put all your money. You guys are doing that now. You have multiple businesses, so you don't put it all in one bucket. And then the third is seek advice and get input from AI, from people in the expertise business. So anyways, I just wanted to summarize that book that you mentioned. And if anyone's interested, they can go to planassist.com and download it for free. It's only a 40-page book, right? It was easy to read, right?
It's a simple book, but it kind of gives you the clarity that you might not have realized.
Right.
Because sometimes you'll hear about stuff, but if you don't really know how to, if you're not really clear on it, it's like a bunch of just little, it just goes in one ear and out the other. But yeah, definitely.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So with that, so you want to finish this up? Take us out.
So I would say, Tim, looking back at the young Takia, if I had a Tim in my life, or someone, like yourself, it would have made my life and business, and just in life in general, a lot more simple. So I would suggest that yourself and people like you, of course, or suggest that they find a way to get in front of the youth. If I had the opportunity to get in front of someone, to get in front of me, whether in high school, even as the young as elementary, to teach me that why and that how, I feel like everything else would align. Does that make sense? Because I got the why, I got the how. Now I want to start this beauty business. I'm graduating from high school and I want to start this beauty business where I already have the core foundation of my finances intact. So if I can suggest to anybody, no matter what age you is, should be the foundation of getting financially literate so that you can understand, you can know what it takes and what you will need to continue our journey through our business.
That's awesome.
I agree.
So with that, you guys know how to reach out. One last time, tell them how to reach out to you and get what website to go to get to reach you guys.
You can reach us at prettymogul.com. That's Mogul with 2 L's. You can also reach us on our social handles, just Takia on Instagram and Maddy Jean PMU on Instagram. And we're also on Facebook too, with the same social name handles.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks again for you guys.
Thank you for having us,
Thanks
Tim.
for your
Appreciate
time.
it.
We enjoyed it. It was a great call. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tim.